All right, everybody, welcome back. Dr. Cherry here with my pops, Charles H. Cherry Jr. We are live in Houston. We had to take care of a couple of technical difficulties, but thank you for being patient. You know, folks have a tough time transitioning to retirement and giving themselves permission to transition through and to retirement. So we wanted to chop it up live today with somebody that's been through it, aspired to retire, and enjoying retirement. And that's my pops, Charles Cherry. And we're going to talk about four aspects of retirement that you should or you could be experiencing, thinking about, saving for, and all these aspects. So, without further ado, let's chop it up live at my childhood home with my pops, Charles H. Cherry Jr. What's up, Pop?
What's going down? How you doing?
All right, all right. So you're gonna see some barbecue pictures a little later. We here smoking it up for the Christmas season. Everybody's down in Houston, Texas. The weather is beautiful, and taking a little escape from Green Bay, Wisconsin, where I'm up there teaching. All right. So Pop, you've been retired now for how many years?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So, but you went on preparing for retirement a couple of years before. Tell us about that.
Well, we started getting ready for retirement actually when when I started working. We already knew we tried to, it was right then and there. That's what we wanted to do, is go for retirement, and we started then. And of course, a lot of things happened in between the years of starting and right now. But hey, we managed to accomplish that feat.
Okay. All right. So tell us one of the things that we want to talk about with our with the audience out here. What was the process of planning for retirement? What does it look like? In particular, we want to help folks prepare for retirement, and that transition is a very key stage. Some people go in underprepared. So what does retirement look like? Did you ask yourself that before you started, transitioning?
Well, of course, retirement is different for different people. But in my case, yes, we started looking at retirement actually the day we started working. And the process was, we know we had to accomplish everything through life, and at the same time save for after work or retirement, if you will. So we started that process early. That means 401k, any type of means that get you there, any kind of little thing that you can put aside at that point for retirement. We put that in that bucket. We're not going to touch it until retirement, whatever it may be. Of course, you have your emergency funds and everything like that. In life, you got to do that. But retirement was always there. It was always present. The bucket was always there for retirement. And we put that into place early. And everything that we have that going towards the future was for that mark for retirement.
Okay, so funds, like when you were funding retirement as you were going through life, and you and mom, and then right before you're getting ready to transition, what did you want to do? Because some folks have an issue with separating themselves from their career, what they're doing, whether it be a small business or they're at a corporation. So people have issue with separating themselves from what they do, and then two, having a tough time envisioning what they want to do in their next stage, because you're not stopping to be productive in life. You're just retiring to something. So what was that like for you and mom? And you particularly, since you retired, envisioning what you wanted to do.
Well, we wanted to do our whole thing is we wanted to be able to retire, not have to think about going back to work, have enough money to do what we want to do as far as do a little bucket list like we just got to with Green Bay. Do our little trips here, visit with family. Just like we're doing today. Go buy a couple of briskets. Ain't got to worry about. What I mean? Get them out there, get it all taken care of, and not worry about any of that. So we know that going up to that process, going through that, try to get to that, during the process, we had to keep our 401k, not touch that. Any side money that you want to put in there, put that aside. All that was geared to retirement for this time. And if you can avoid getting into that bucket, then that all leads to retirement to this stage right here. So that's what we did. And now life throws you a lot of curves, you know, so you got to get ready for that. So we had a 401k no touch. Then we had the emergency fund to protect the 401k. I like to say that, protect that. So we like to get in that emergency fund, take care of you. You need a new roof, things like that, and then leave that 401k intact and build on it. So we built on that to get to this point because it didn't take a lot. We didn't want to do a whole lot in retirement. I guess that's in the eyes of the beholder. All we wanted to do is take a few trips, be able to go out to eat or whatever we're doing those simple things that you had to save up for when you was working. You had to save up for that. Now you can't do no more saving because you don't have no job. So that stuff should have been in place. And if you don't touch it and everything's up, then you get to this point where, okay, what we're doing right now. And that we envisioned that, and now we're doing it.
Right. So yeah, you mentioned one of your favorite lines is personal preference.
Personal preference. It's always preference. It's not going to work for everybody.
Right.
I'm not mad at that. But you asking me, this is what we got.
As far as lifestyle, you have a life. You and mom have a lifestyle, and others have a lifestyle. But you had what you wanted to do, set that course, and stayed dedicated to it because you had that vision. Because you always wanted to be retired.
Always
wanted to be retired.
Always.
So do you find that aspiration that you had helped you commit and be dedicated to saving for and building up that wealth for retirement?
Of course, you can't deviate from the plan. You can improve the plan or you can make adjustments to the plan, but the plan was already in place. So we didn't have to. If something happened in life, or you had to go into one of those buckets, those buckets need to be replaced,
right? Because
the plan was always there. Don't deviate from the plan. Alter the plan. Work with the plan, but don't leave the plan.
Right.
Don't leave the plan.
Well, also too, you knew your date. You knew your date, or at least you planned for it. Tell us how that went, because you were outside about a couple of years outside your retirement age. You was like, I'm kind of feeling this. How do you go about selecting, that date?
Interesting. That's an interesting question, and let me answer that like this. Maybe I shouldn't admit this, but this.
No,
is
chop it up. That's what we're doing.
Okay, Okay, so with the plan in place, when I used to work for another company, I won't mention it at the time, I was supposed to be retired in my mind, in our mind, at 50. Okay, that sounds kind of crazy,
no. People are selecting their own date.
But that's what was the original plan, by 50. And that is with your mother working, I'm working, we're stable. If we're gonna keep these things forever, then okay, if this happens, I'll be ready to go by 50.
Okay.
Well, plans get changed. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
So we had to get into some buckets. We had to alter the plan.
Right.
But the march was still going on. So that didn't work out. Okay, so we're like, okay, well, let's move it up 10 years.
Okay.
Let's move it up 10 years.
So you made a little adjustment.
Made a little adjustment. At 10 years, that wasn't going to work. If it wasn't realistic, we're like, okay, so let's go to 60. Still on the plan. Okay, so then it got to be 62. Now I'm ready. I'm really thinking about going. Okay, because we done altered the plan, we done picked up the plan, we done adjusted the plan, and we still maintain the plan. Okay, we just had to add 10 years. You know what I mean?
and you went about that because that was a process of how having to process it emotionally.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah.
That's correct.
But you kept on.
So at 62, and then that do you want to take your Social Security, outside the plan bucks that you have, do you want to take your Social Security now? Well, we'll talk to you, chop it up with you. That's what you do.
Right.
And I had a little list of requirements that I needed if I'm going to take this money early. And can I do that early without waiting till 67?
Right.
Because one thing and I say this and I keep saying it, you can have all the plans you want to, but one thing, the only thing that I can think of, money can't buy is time. So if I'm 62 and if I can get my Social Security with my other buckets and not wait to 67 to get $200-300 extra more dollars, we're gonna make it work. Well, when we talk to you, we put it on paper. We're like, okay, we can make this work. Yeah. So at 62, I was ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you brought up a couple of points about Social Security. We're gonna that pivots us to the next category or the next segment of the show, which is knowing your finances. All right. So let's talk about that. Knowing your finances before and after. Knowing your finances as far as your spending plan, how you're living, your lifestyle, because it goes into what you aspire, how you aspire to live in retirement. So are you ready? Right, you already kind of touched that on a little bit. You had to delay a little bit, but you had to save up a little more and fund that. So knowing how important or how critical is it to know your finances, what you're doing now, and then what you're going to be doing in retirement. How critical knowing your finances.
That's very, very critical, very important. I mean, that's the number one thing. You have to know your finances. You got to know where you're going, know what you want to do, all that. That's very, very important,
right? Because you can't put the numbers to it if you don't know what you're doing right now, as far as your lifestyle choice. Because you said personal preference, and going through your finances, getting prepared.
That's right.
All that, and then being able to choose a date or pivot a date, and then how you're going to live now. All critical. And
follow up on that. That's good, because the things that you want to do in retirement, you have to fund that.
So it is there is a number to it.
That's a number to it.
There's a dollar to it.
It's a dollar to it. You got to work with that. So we always had to fund that, even though the obstacles came in and play. You have sickness, you have the kids trying to get into school. You had to go to school. Yeah. Jen had to do her thing. You know what I mean? So all those require what? Funding. You got to fund that.
You got to fund that.
So if you don't have that funding while you're working, if you get a little overtime, if you don't have it, you gotta fund that somewhere. And but the plan was always in place to retire. So we funded it, took the hit, and keep moving forward. And had that date. The date changes. Right. That date changes because stuff happens. So you got to prepare for that. So while you're living, so we did that, stayed on that plan. The trajectory they had, it never failed.
Okay. All right. What was your? We talked about this, but I'll let you tell you.
All right. What you got? What you got for me?
Right.
What you got for me?
All right, so start by knowing your finances.
Knowing your finances.
What was one of the biggest financial concerns that you had going into retirement? That last, to making that last decision. It was one big thing, and he was like, "If we don't have that, then we can't retire." And what was that thing?
There's a
couple things.
There's a couple things. When you said that, the first thing come to mind, I can't have no house note.
I want you to touch on that too. Yeah,
can't have no house note.
Yeah, can't have.
I wasn't gonna retire if I had to work to 100. I couldn't do it with a house note.
Right. And
then on top of that, what follows house? Car note.
Car, yes.
Couldn't have it. And then again, we weren't in the category where, okay, I worked 45 years, so I need to take $60,000 and buy my dream car, $70,000 buy my dream car. We wasn't in that. We didn't even plan for that. Right. So that wasn't even a question. Our main thing, Michelle and I, we had to have no house note, have no car note, and then to top that off, couldn't have any debt.
Right. So I think that's what the big aspect is too. It's
no debt.
And it doesn't matter where you are in a socioeconomic status, because concurrent services, high net worth, or even high income individuals, they're in
a different category.
Not really, because you're talking about, to your point, to not managing your debt. When you go in and you're knowing your finances, then you have to know what your aspirations are. We talked about that last segment. Then we were talking about you have to fund that. All right. So wealth, you have to have wealth to fund well-being. And then when you're going into that transition stage, what are you comfortable with? What you as an individual, your own identity, your household, what are you comfortable with far as lifestyle, and then when you're going in and spending, you have to identify all that, and then also, which is very important, managing debt. So a lot of folks, whether they're high income or where they are in the status, that is a big deterrent to retirement, is having to continue on debt and not retiring the debt. So it's for you, it was essential. You and mom, it was essential to say, okay, we have to retire all debt.
That was the number one priority for our retirement.
Number one. And
number one priority.
That was how we're going to thrive. And then number two was, I'll go ahead and say it. Tell us a story about medical, because medical is a big expense. I mean, when you're reached 65, but medical doesn't start, as far as Medicare doesn't start till 65, and average expenses are anywhere between $6,000 and $10,000 a year. So a huge like a funding mechanism or funding area, and then also causing worry and anxiety potentially about being fully covered. Tell us about like the medical story.
Well, my medical story,
yeah.
Me personally, on my job at the time, we had a contractually, I was able to at 62 be able to what they call bridge my medical to 65.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that didn't happen. They took that off the table because the contract says, hey, we couldn't do it. So that right there, that was part of, I couldn't, if I don't have any medical, I can't retire. So once we and sick time, I had a bunch of sick time. They weren't gonna pay me for it, but once we established, actually it's COVID. When COVID hit, all that changed. It accelerated in my favor because I was I was on the books as an employee, but I had a bunch of sick time. And they knew
expensive.
I was expensive.
He was expensive.
When you get 60, if tell you people, this is no joke. You know this be a fact. Once you get 62, 63, you can be a lovable guy. You can have you can be a great family man. And all that. You can be a great husband. Hey, but the company, you're a number and you get expensive. You got to get out.
Right.
You got to think about that.
Right,
you gotta think about this because they'll come in. Oh man, hey Charlie, well, we're gonna have to let you go.
Right.
That was, as a matter of fact, that was one of my, through this project. Let me get back on that. Through the retirement, that was my biggest fear. Come in and say, hey Charlie, we're gonna have to let you go. Now you gotta start all over. Anything that you had, any kind of plans you had, okay. Hopefully you have some emergency money. Right. You're gonna have to get through. If you got any kids, that emergency money gonna go very quickly because now you got to fund you, yourself, your wife, and the kids while you get another job. Then when you get another job, you got to start all over. Plan's still in effect, but you got to start all over.
Right.
We had that happen a couple of times, but the plan was already in place. So we just, I wouldn't have worked that long, and then kept the plan going, and we had enough funds to hold us over until that job until we restart the plan.
That's right.
So we did all that. Man, thank you God, and maintain the plan to get to retirement as it stands now.
So how was that? So as far as retiring debt, these were goals. So knowing your finances, and retiring debt, and then the medical was
very important
because it was expensive.
Oh, you got to look at that.
You got to know that, and so that was a key factor in your date. Because you had to not only know your date, but you also have to fund all the stuff that you're talking about. And so medicine, what you're saying is medical was a big deciding factor.
Not only was it a big deciding factor, and all those things got to come into play, but medical was very big. I'm glad you said it. Thank you. Very big. So let me tell you about this. So once we knew once we knew collectively that medical was going to be taken care of.
Yes.
Soon as that happened,
yes,
I retired the next day. I ain't waste no time because I was already ready.
Yeah,
debt was already taken care of. No debt, no car note, no house note. Had a few little dollars. The 401k grew to enough for us.
Yeah,
little money over here, whatever. Not much, but enough to take care of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, and they said, okay, Mr. Sherry, we're gonna give you this for your medical. I said, excuse me, you gonna this is what you're gonna do. I read the letter. I'm like, so I looked around. I thought it was a joke.
Right.
And they said, okay, well, we got you covered. Your medical, we're gonna take you till you get 65. I said, 65. My witness. The very next day, I signed that paper and I was out.
Gone. It was gone.
I was gone.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was out. Didn't hesitate.
And yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So also too, so wrapping up knowing your finances,
Okay, yeah.
we have different types. So pensions and investment portfolio.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I mean, there's not many pensions left. So it's all invested in your 401ks and your employer sponsored plans all the way through. Or even if you have a business owner, you're the employer.
Yeah.
So you have your retirement plans for you and your employees. But when we're talking about different types of income, we had a plan. But how did you feel about having the like a guaranteed notion of a pension, Social Security, which is fixed income, and what did you think about having the variable income? Coming from your portfolio, your investment portfolio. How do those income streams make you feel, you and Mom?
Well, funded correctly, it made us feel great. I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't mention that at first, but that's a good point. Pension fund, if you had one with a job, that was a bucket.
Right.
401k, that was a bucket.
Social
Security,
yeah.
That was a bucket. Medical, Medicare, and how you going to get insured. Yeah. All that was in those buckets. So once we get ready to get retired, you have to check all those buckets. And once all those buckets satisfy us, to my knowledge, then I come to you. I'm like, okay, your financial advisor. I'm like, okay, man, look, this is what we got. This is what I got. Hey, run some numbers and tell me when I can go.
Right.
So I told you this, and you and your mama, I got that's a good story because I'm going to ask some questions. I got to have a real deal, Holyfield.
Right.
That's it.
Real deal.
So when you went over our plan and got some suggestions, gave us some suggestions, and everything like that, I was like, so what you're saying is I can go with this date.
Right. You felt confident.
I felt very confident.
You kept confident.
I mean,
and with a little bit of clarity as well. Not a little bit, but a lot of clarity. Because you said you had questions.
I had a lot of questions. Yeah, I had. Oh, yeah. I thought I had questions, but you dumped all that out the way because you answered everything. I'm like, so that's what I said.
So y'all working with an advisor.
Yeah, that's right.
that helped too.
That helped a lot.
But yeah, that helped a lot. But you came in. You and Mom had questions about your retirement, how you're going to do it, what was going to fund it, and all that. Then you receive some information that helped you relieve.
Where did you get that information? I got it from you, but
right. You receive that information that helped you say, okay, I have that permission to transition to retirement started coming in. Permission to transition.
Yeah. You sure gave me some permission
to it through, right? Yeah. So once you had that confidence and clarity, you said, all right, now let's go. How important was that process of working with someone and bringing your thoughts, your thinking, your worries, your concerns to the table and having more clarity? How did that help the well-being part of the process?
That helped a lot. I mean, and you gotta have somebody you can trust. And fortunately, thank God we had you, and that's what you went to school. That's what you did. That's what you do. So that was always in the back of our mind. We already knew we had somebody to go to. That process that helped a lot. So once we thought layman's terms and our terms what we thought we was at, we're like, okay, here's what we got. Okay, handle that for me. Tell me what we got.
Yeah, Charlie
make some
sound,
yeah,
right?
there you go.
Handle that for me.
Yeah, make some sense out of this. And is it like I'm thinking about this is what you do, what you got for us?
Right. Would you have preferred to go at it alone? Or I mean, you could have. I mean, anybody has the ability to. But what was your preference? To go at it alone or collaborate with someone?
Oh, that's not even a question. At first, when we started our plan, you guys look, we were going at it ourselves. Okay, we knew we had to do this, do that. Well, once you went to school, this is what you went to school for. That portion of it dropped for us. because we already knew we had somebody that we was going to go to. You know, had I known this earlier, and if you decide to be, you know, whatever, garbage man, whatever you want to do, okay, well, it wouldn't have been no harm, no foul, but we would have now know that we would have lost a lot of very good information source to help us through that process. Now I would advise anybody, hey man, look, get somebody that you trust, somebody that's going to look out for your interests and can help you make that decision. I would advise them to do that.
Okay.
I would, and now going through all this now, I would advise them to do that. So that was very important. It's very comforting to know, very comforting to know that, okay, I'll do the work. I'll fund what I can fund. Because you're busy doing what you're doing, trying to, you know, graduate and everything like that. But I know that he's there when he gets through. By the time we get ready to retire, that's not going to be, and that's exactly what we did.
That happened.
Right?
You worked with somebody, and you said comfort, confidence, all that just helped with it.
That's correct. That's correct. So that was good.
All right, we're going to combine these last two sections of the show. You've already touched on allowing for adjustments, so that's one, and then just living your retirement. I mean, some folks, and this is no knock or just shame or judgment.
No,
but some folks truly have a barrier within inside them that won't allow them to live. There's some statistics that say that a lot of there's a big chunk of retirees that don't spend down what they saved all this year, saved and invest. So they don't spend their wealth. And I'll put the statistic up a little later. But there's a large portion of folks that just don't spend down their retirement savings. So that it kind of alludes us to, you know, folks have a little bit of worry, anxiety of outliving their money, or also just not enjoying the life that they aspire to have. They're not giving themselves permission. So let's do two things. One, allowing for adjustment. How has that gone in retirement for you? Allowing for adjustment. Let's start there. Allowing for adjustments like finances, even life, because you had an envision for yourself, and then now that you're living it, you know, how is that adjustment, or not necessarily adjustment, but, you know, making adjustments in your retirement? You know, have you allowed yourself to say, okay, this is not what we truly envisioned, but we can make adjustments here, or mental, spiritual, spousal, lifestyle, allowing yourself for adjustments in retirement?
Wow, that's pretty good. Well, how can I say that? The same process, the same plan that you have for retirement, you still have that. That never leaves you. For us, it didn't. But once you get out and you have on what they call, fixed income, because now you don't have no overtime. You can't go in and get an extra day, or let me work a week. Right.
You got a pot of money. That's what you got. Now, how you gonna make that work? Okay, that's the adjustment you're talking about. For instance, if I got a countertop in there that I want to get replaced when I leave. Look good too.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a lot of years, man, to get that. So so now you're on a fixed income. We're on a fixed income. Okay, that took a little change, but we allow for that. Okay, but the bathroom. Okay, that floor, we need to put a floor on that one. We got to back up for a minute. We're on a fixed income. Okay, wait.
A fixed pot of money. I want to explain that. Fixed pot of money portfolio along with your fixed income stream.
Yeah, all those streams.
But your pot of money. Yeah.
Now, if we don't want to take from this one of those income streams, and let's just say we want to do that and not take the interest, then we got to back to that thing. We got to save up for it.
We got to make adjustments.
We got to make adjustments, and no money's coming in, so we just hold on to this little money, let it grow a little bit. Now, of course, we can go into one of those buckets maybe and take it out, but then you eliminate that bucket, you still got some years to live, hopefully, and pray for it. So we like, okay, if we just chill out for like the next month, now then we go ahead and fix that floor.
Right.
We're going to do that now, and then as we get that, save up for it, still saving up for it.
Right, just in a different way.
Yeah. Then we can, now we can take that trip.
Right. So folks, they have this, we have these sayings as far as help or planners helping folks is that you have these guardrails. In some good years, you spend a little bit more, and then when years that where you need to adjust to your income, you take the foot off the gas a little bit.
Hey, that's true.
So is that what you're saying? Kind of what you're doing is you're having your buckets that ends up to be one distribution, that's that fixed portion, but and you say, you know what, based on how life is going and how that maybe investment portfolio is performing, and then my other income streams and all that, we're going to increase our lifestyle a little bit, but sometimes we have to bag back. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Matter of fact, that just happened. I'm going to give you a good example of that.
Yeah.
Real quick. And this happened last week. So you're going into, now you got your medical taken care of.
Yeah.
So you're going into and you got your insurance, your little insurance card and everything like that. So you think everything's cool, right? So you go into your hand. This toothache is hard, man. So you go in, they tell you, okay, Mr. Sherry, you need a root canal. I'm like, okay, all right, then I hear you. So how much is that gonna cost me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, your insurances, they're gonna carry, they might take you, they could cover $300 of it. And so your portion is $1,500. I'm like, damn, what? And I'm like, so that portion of you got to adjust. So we gotta adjust that. Okay, so now you can't get that floor right now. It's either your teeth or your floor. What you gonna do?
Right. You gotta chew.
You gotta chew. So I'm like, okay, we got it. We go ahead and get that root canal, but that floor gonna be on hold. You know what I mean? Until we make some adjustment period. So in that adjustment period, then we come back and we get the floor. Right now, I gotta get the root canal.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Little adjustments like that.
Little adjustments like that, and then also too, life experiences too. Being with your spouse more, if you got more time.
True.
And then what you're gonna do, you're out here barbecuing right now. How you're gonna feel that?
That's right.
And making adjustments with your schedule, all that. So just touch on that, and then we're gonna pivot to the last segment of the show, and we're gonna just wrap it up and just give people permission to live their retirement. How is that kind of that mental, spousal, just all that adjustment been for you?
That's been good because it was already planned. We already knew what we was going to do. We knew we was going to be together a lot. So, we got, 2 cars. You have to keep them going and everything like that when you're working and everything like that. Now you just got that 1 car sitting in the garage. We don't even use it. Why? Because we're together a lot of times. Right. And we had planned all that. So we knew we was going to be doing that. We're going on a trip most of the time. Most of the times, even though, sometimes you go by, come see you, cook whatever, we're going to be together.
Right.
So we had already planned for that.
So you talked because you planned on being more together. So that was part of that preparing for retirement, because some folks that once the everyday stops and they're spending more time with their spouses, they have to get to know one another again, and this, that, and the other. So you're saying that you and mom talked beforehand,
of course,
about, hey, this is things are gonna change a little bit, and then now you're in it, and making those adjustments too. Touch on that just a little bit before we could.
Well, okay, but see, for us, I listen to you. That was always, I come back to it. It was always the plan. Yeah. We were always going to do that. That was the ultimate. And now that we're in it, it's comfortable.
It's comfortable
because we had already planned. We already thought.
So conversations and envisioning. Is that how you got there?
Yes.
Talking about it, and then having a vision.
Correct.
All of that, and saying, okay, that's preparation.
That's correct.
So now that you're in it, it doesn't seem as hard. It's not many adjustments. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, we haven't made. Just because, like I said, it pretty much.
So it made it easier. By conversing it out and preparing for it. So now there's not as much adjustment here because of the preparation and the talking out. So people underestimate conversations.
Gotta have those. And we had them continuously.
And then in a vision.
We had those continuously. And they never changed. They were altered a little bit because, as you grow, as you get older, your personality, everything changes a little bit. And so they changed. Okay, we're not gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna take this trip. This is probably what we're gonna do. Right. So that changes a little bit, but for us, it was already envisioned, as you say. Yeah. And now that we're in it, it's just like we thought it was going to be.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so now let's close on this note,
Right.
which is allowing yourself to live your retirement. So that's a nice segue into what you just finished and then put a button on. It's what you envision. Are you giving, or you've already given yourself permission already? How does it feel to live in retirement? Actually live what you've been pursuing all this time, your aspiration. How does it feel to be in it? Because some people, they don't like either being in it or discovering it, trying to be in it, or not living it fully. What do you have to say to everyone to say, what should you be doing? Not should. Oh, how do you feel in your retirement, and what do you want other people to feel during their process? How does it feel?
Yeah, well, how does it feel? First of all, I can answer that question very easily. That question is easy. It feels great. It feels wonderful. That feels wonderful, man. I sometimes it feels so wonderful. I feel bad sometimes because when I get up and I look, I see the whole block. They going to work. I'm like, man,
they going to work and
they going right now. I'm trying to let them go to work. So when they go to work about 10 o'clock, everybody's at work. So now I go to the store, ain't nobody in the store. So I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. But anyway, I love that. But what I want other people to know as far as retirement, if I could, it's a bad me for me to say this, but it's personal preference. But just to say it out loud is, if you have if you spent 30 or 40 years of working, and you mentally, I think it's mental, you get it mentally in your mind that you asked a question prior to going to retire. Even if you can go to retirement, you delay your retirement because you asking yourself the question is asking me a lot. Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, there you go.
Me, what am I going to do? That's an easy question. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Do it.
And one of them is not
working.
That ain't one of them.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it. So, I would ask people, man, don't get mentally involved so deep that it takes away from yourself, that you have to ask yourself, do I deserve to retire? Am I going to have anything to do when I retire? I'm like, I thought about that from day one.
Yeah.
So, it's like, like when you just call, you say, hey, man, I'm coming over, man. We're going to chop it up, da-da-da. I didn't know you were going to do this podcast. Yeah. I'm like, hey, man, look, I'm out here, man. I got 2 briskets out there, man, a pork shoulder roast, man. Chilling. I'm good.
Right. When
you come over, you just join right on in,
right.
Which is great. I love that. That's part of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was going to happen, and we loving that. Yeah. We're loving that. So I'm loving retirement.
I love your speeches about self. Love yourself enough to say, I earned this.
Yeah.
I live in gratitude. We've been blessed.
Yeah.
And live the dang on thing.
And live the dang on thing. That's what I'm talking about. Live it, man. Don't be scared of it, man, because you put 40 years of your life into it.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, oh my goodness, you got 40 years of your life just to get to that point. And if you got kids, that 40 seems like 80. Because you gotta get them to their 20s and 30s. So it's a lot that you give up in life to get to this point.
Yeah. So you better be living.
You better be living it. Man, I'm straight. Now, can I jump in a $70,000 car and go out there but I don't even desire that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that desire back then, and I don't have it now. But can I get in a car and go anywhere I want to? Well, I can do that.
Yeah. That's personal preference.
It's personal preference too.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good, dude. I'm
man,
good.
well, we've heard a lot about retirement. I appreciate you because folks need to hear, stories like yours, moms, and how approaching retirement can be. It could be something, but also too, here's some advice on how to work your way through it. And then to it and enjoying it. So hearing it from the first person, like from the horse's mouth, and then people that are going through the same thing, they'd be like, oh, okay, then I can do that too.
Oh yes, of course. Hey man, chop it up with me, man, because I can tell you, retirement is great. I don't understand people how they don't want to retire. Now, if you got something you're doing, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Okay, if you got a business, man, hey man, have at it.
Yeah.
Because like I told you, I said, man, you run your business, man. After you get off work or doing your business, hey, I'm there.
Right.
Let's go out to eat.
Because you got that freedom, you got the time freedom, you got you funded that.
Yeah,
you know, all of that.
That's correct.
Oh man, that's what's up. Well, man, appreciate you being.
Hey man, it's all good, bro.
You may be on like a regular. And now, one last thing.
All right, then how?
No, one last thing, just for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Does retirement mean that you're not productive in life? Does retirement from a job mean that you're not productive in life during retirement? I'm just gonna leave it there.
Wow, dude. That question don't even sound right.
It don't do it.
It don't even sound right.
Because what you doing right now? You say you're
I'm being productive.
You're being
what I'm doing.
All right, we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna leave it.
I can't answer that question.
I know.
That's a stupid question.
I'm telling you,
Productive. I'm not measuring that against anybody.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
telling you,
I'm being productive right now.
Folks believe that retire, that you ain't being productive in life. You ain't well-being. Like, no, you just retiring from something to something to be productive or how you want to be.
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
Okay,
that must be a trick question.
All right, we're gonna leave it right there. Hey, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from my pops, man. That's a trick question.
That's a trick.
It's like,
hey, well, do people ask that?
you'd be surprised.
No, they don't. That's not real, is it?
It is. That's okay though. But no shame, no judgment. Because there's no shame, no judgment area. But hopefully that makes folks easier with saying, hey, you're retiring from to your to, and you're being productive how you want to. That's what it is. Okay, right there you go.
I don't care. Look, one last thing. Maybe this will help. Depending on who you believe. We happen to believe in God. Okay, yeah, man. Yeah. That's what we believe in.
Yeah.
So I'm productive as soon as he created me. That's it.
Right.
Now I'm productive.
Yep.
That's it.
You're gonna continue being productive.
I'll continue being productive.
That's what's up. All right, man. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. This is my pops. I'm gonna have him more on the regular. Thank you for tuning in and dealing with our technical difficulties at the beginning of the show. We're gonna keep going live. We live in Houston, Texas, my childhood home, my pops, and we're gonna keep living life money balance, letting your life lead your money. And we talked about that today. Subscribe all across your favorite platforms. We'll be back next. Well, we're taking a week off. We'll see you in 2024. Love you, Pop.
All right, love you, man. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
All right, now.
All right.